Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hey everyone, checking in on the commodity space, starting with longer term time frames. We are looking at the dollar on the weekly time frame, and we can see an upper wick of resistance continuing to reject from the lower $98 range. So keep in mind that the most bullish thing for gold is a weak dollar and a weak market. And right now we had a red week in the market, and we had the dollar pull back at the end of the week. So that allowed an environment for gold bulls to really benefit. So looking at this support level, 97.03 is the must-hold level. If you are bullish gold, you want to see the dollar break this level and lose the weekly uptrend, and then that would have a zoom out to the monthly time frame from there. And looking at the monthly chart for the dollar, the most important support is 95.03. So getting interesting in this space as the ranges are so tight. There's the dollar rejecting from resistance, almost a double top, and an all-out dump on Friday. So we're continuing to watch the weekly time frame. That's the most clear for me short term. And as long as 97.03 holds, the bulls keep the uptrend and they're just fine. But if that level does break, it'll be very notable for the gold bulls. And gold right now is looking to form our monthly higher low. So we have our monthly multiple year equilibrium that's been forming here. And it looks like our monthly higher low is now formed down at 1266. And the reason for that is the weekly trend has changed. So on the weekly chart, we have our low, high of the bounce, higher low, and then we just broke resistance. The next level is 13.1047. We've only broken resistance by a few dollars at this point, so the bulls certainly want to see more follow through early this week to get that confidence that the bull break actually did occur with follow through behind it. But this monthly pattern breaking bullish, if gold can get over 1365, 66, actually let's see, it's 1347, 1366, and 1375. If the bulls can clear these levels, there is a good amount of space up here for the bulls to work with, again, after multiple years of tightening, and that would be a very notable break if that were to occur. And if we cannot break 1346 in the next couple months, we're going to look for this real tight range to give us a clear break sometime in Q3, Q4 2019. So the bull miners, looking on the monthly time frame, they've been weaker, and you can just look comparatively. We have gold holding the low from the end of 2016 with a higher low very clearly by multiple percent, but the miners broke to a lower low by multiple percent and over 6% to a lower low. So that's a notable difference. And looking at GDXJ, same thing, lower low. So we have to keep that in mind, but overall the patterns are very similar where the monthly time frame is trying for its higher low, and if the bulls can break 2370, we will confirm the monthly trend change for the first time since we had this big bull move back in April 2016. There was a lot of money to be had in miners back then with a ton of volatility, so the miners are hoping that breaking these tight ranges that have been holding for multiple years will give that spike in volatility an opportunity for traders again. So GDXJ would have to see a break of 3504 for a monthly bull move. Looking at it on the short term, we have the solid bull move on the miners this past week. We had this tight range, very choppy action, had no interest in watching it. And the one unfortunate part for the bulls is that the break occurred on the gap up open. Because if that 2102 level broke during regular trading, it'd be very easy to see, and a lot of traders would have acted on it and would have seen some solid gains. But we gapped up over those levels before the significant move on Friday. Either way, the volume is there. It's the most notable bull move on the daily that we've seen in over a month. And the next resistance level we're looking up at, pretty much anything under 2293 is, let's look at the weekly resistance. Anything under 2293 is a weekly lower high. So while gold has changed the weekly trend, we aren't really seeing a clear trend change on the miners just yet because it's a bit of a different setup. Weekly time frame for GDXJ, anything under 3259 is just a lower high. And we cleared some resistance levels, but there's still a little bit of resistance here, 3027 next level. Keeping in mind, and this was actually a nice falling wedge pattern. We'll draw that real quick as an example of a reversal pattern. And it's what notes the falling wedge pattern for me is dropping to lower lows and getting no follow through. So here we had the low of 28.04. It broke, didn't really get any follow through. Then we had a double bottom at 27.80 and then the bull break. So that's a nice falling wedge pattern, and those are great reversal patterns to keep an eye out for. And again, most important part, lower lows being hit, but no bear follow through, and the ranges get tight. So for the miners, heading into this week, the more follow through, the better to create more space, keeping in mind that we will need higher lows and higher highs on the daily to confirm trend changes. These moves are coming straight off of the low on the daily time frame, essentially, and we will need to see a bit more follow through. Actually, it's a different setup. GDX, which is stronger. We've been saying this for years. GDX, if you're looking bull, you're looking NUGT for a leveraged ETF. If you're looking bear, you're looking JDST because the junior miners are weaker. But look at this distinct difference. GDX held a higher low and broke the downtrend. So there's a daily trend change with the higher low and higher high. And GDXJ didn't do the same thing. So GDXJ 2780, we just faded down towards that level, held support, and then broke resistance, but we don't have that very clear daily higher low. And you can also see that GDX was not a falling wedge, while GDXJ was, because GDX was not dropping to those lower lows. So oil, a lot of people watching oil now, myself included. This is the monthly time frame, and we're looking for an equilibrium, in my opinion. Low of the December dump, topped out on the bounce, and now anything above 42.34 is a higher low. We've already pulled back very significantly, and we would have to drop another 20% plus, which would require some kind of global event, in my opinion, to see that kind of follow through for the bears from where we stand. So I'm going to be looking for a monthly higher low and a tightening monthly range into Q4 2019. And looking at it on the weekly time frame, not close to oversold, but we're getting there. We're in the 30s for the RSI. The next clear weekly support level is 51.22. And the daily time frame very extended now. The daily RSI is down at 23.5. So we look back, when's the last time we were oversold? We had the all-out dump in the winter here of 2018. That RSI on the daily got down to 14. So we can definitely get very extended, as we certainly saw back then. So keep that in mind. But I am interested in watching for the daily oversold bounce because that daily RSI is oversold. Look how we ended the week. The 4-hour RSI is down at 18. Very extreme levels. And the hourly RSI, also extreme, down at 14. So when the shorter term time frames are lining up this extreme, that has me interested for at least a short term bounce, because that allows us to establish positions and then establish stop losses, ideally at break even, if we can get some bounce follow through. But it's the kind of scenario where if we get short term bounces, the hourly and 4-hour RSI could cool off and see another leg down. So we have to keep that in mind as well, which is why we protect against those positions. But I will be watching Monday for a potential oversold bounce entry, keeping in mind that when we do bounce, anything on the hourly time frame under 55.69 is just a lower high. So we're not changing this hourly trend anytime soon. We could see a 3% bounce and still just form an hourly lower high. I'm watching the hourly exponential resistances, which have been rejecting the price to end the week, Thursday and Friday. And again, just keeping in mind that the bounces we're going to anticipate are going to be fairly short term, as we are in a downtrend on the weekly, the daily, the 4-hour, the hourly, and breaking that $60 level was a very clear shift in momentum that let the oil bears loose, essentially. Natural gas dumping as well, so energy sector getting hit hard, and just like that, we're back down to our weekly support level of 2442. If that level breaks, and actually it did, so that level broke and we have a lower low now. This is the kind of scenario on the weekly time frame where I'm going to start watching for that declining wedge pattern, descending wedge. So let's draw that out real quick and see what that would look like. And of course, we haven't found support yet, so we could drop lower and that could negate this pattern. But I'm watching for something like this, with resistance lines being hit a few times, support lines bouncing a few times. This current support level this coming week will be down in the 237s, and it's just something I'm going to watch for. I have no interest in natural gas right now, but if natural gas drops down and breaks this 2441 level or 2442 and does not get a lot of follow through, I will be watching for the potential setup of a falling wedge on natural gas, which would have my interest. So we'll keep an eye on that for the next 2 weeks. We'll get some good information there, and looking at it on the daily time frame, almost close to oversold with the 2-day dump that we have seen. So the bears fully in control of natural gas, but keeping an eye on that pattern. Oil oversold bounce on watch early this week because levels are so extreme. Bull miners in control with gold strength, But gold bulls want to see a bit more follow through, another $5 or so, to convincingly get over the weekly 1303 resistance. And we're watching the weekly uptrend on the dollar for potential implications on gold and the miners. I appreciate you watching. Hope you have a good rest of your Sunday. Do good things out there. We'll check in soon. Checking in with a garden update. We've got these little sour gherkin cucumbers going wild. Pretty much twice a day I have to adjust where they're climbing and grabbing as they get higher and higher. And I'm going to run out of space. Sending them along the side here. And you can see their little flowers and little cucumbers getting ready to go. Then we have the big boys over here climbing up. Got some cucumber production. Where are we? That big boy's growing real fast every day. And they're sending their own arms outward. Just letting them go wherever at this point. And there's a praying mantis that's been living here. I'll keep an eye out for them and try and get them. Tomatoes still flowering. Don't see any little tomatoes forming yet. Seems like the brandywine, which are these wider leaves, they seem more resistant to blight. But cutting those lower branches off definitely slowed everything down. And we got the basil still going. Got some zucchinis. And cilantro's flowering, so that's on its way out. But I like eating a little cilantro every day. Wildflowers still going. Now we got the potatoes from the compost pile. And some squash coming in from the compost pile as well. Not sure what varieties. Potatoes are huge. So I've hilled them up a couple times just by adding dirt to their base. Only one variety has flowered yet. And then they'll just die off eventually. And then you dig up the potatoes. Pepper flowers. This is some kind of spicy pepper. This is a butternut squash that's starting to expand. You can see the little baby butternut. And we got eggplant flower, and a lot of flea beetles have been eating this. You can see the leaves, these little dots. That's just little flea beetles taking tiny bites. Chard still doing its thing. Beans flowering. So they'll start producing, and one of these little guys, you'd be surprised how many string beans one of these will produce. Peas, they'll probably start flowering in the next week, but they're still climbing up. And every day I just have to come out here and help them hook on. Another winter squash, and the kale and the collard greens are going on. And that fan, I don't know if you've seen the YouTube video, but for mosquitoes, you mix warm water, yeast, and sugar, and that puts off CO2, which is what mosquitoes see or smell to bite us. And then the fan sucks them to the back. And so I come every morning and rescue the guys who are not mosquitoes.